I am. I am tired in a different type of way after sleeping. I went to bed early and I dreamed very vividly and horrifically, imagining myself or dreaming that I was in a prison of a type. Not sure what kind of prison, but horrors occurred in front of my eyes, and they're always very vividly real. The particulars of it I don't remember. Do I need to remember? I'm not sure. But upon wakening, then it left me with a feeling like I'm in prison here, wherever I am, thinking, am I in a prison in the way I live, in the way I am? So it's left me with a little bit of a somber feeling. I also decided not to do a walkabout today. And walkabouts can tend to be very stimulating and ecstatic. They can also work and make me feel lonely. But also I have given myself a leeway of 3 or 4 walkabouts a week. And as it goes, I think that I will get 3 walkabouts. I'll have 2 on the weekend. It always leaves me, dreaming does, dreaming always leaves me with this wonder, how do I know the difference between dreams or reality? Because there are some dreams that I remember better than I remember things that are real. It's possibly because they're so vivid and colorful and horrific or fantastic that I do remember them. And then my everyday life is quite normal, quite plain. Not always. I make the best of times, but I, for instance, don't remember the particulars of, let's say, 3 days ago. I remember the massage. I remember the dinner, which I hated. But the in-betweens I don't remember, and they're real. However, there are dreams that I remember that are so in my memory, so vividly in my memory, much more than almost, I would say, 70% of my life. Are they real? In certain aspect they are. And that aspect, that part that is real, makes me always wonder what is real and what is dream, what is reality. The memory of my father hitting the boy and the whole experience of it is so vivid. And at times I can wonder if that was really a dream. Was it a dream? And yet, I know for a fact it wasn't. There's something about it that makes it shiny. I want to use a different word, but shiny at the moment will do. Shiny that it has that I can give it the definition as reality, that is real. It happened. Whereas dreams are missing this, and so therefore I can't say that happened. But did it happen in a different reality of a type? Is it vestiges of a reality that come back and are retained in this lifetime to come back as dreams? Was I in a prison once? So that I have this memory that then gets intermixed with this reality as well as this dream time, so that I have basically 3 or 4 different inputs to this dream. The time when I was in prison, the time now when I'm living, the lifetime I had previous to now, or the memories, and the dreams that I've had in this present lifetime. They all can intermix and then have a very fantastic experience. But what it does do is it really brings up the issue. Am I in prison? Do I feel imprisoned at this moment? I could say at times I do. I've made a choice of not handling money. I've made a choice of not having a phone. I've made a choice of living my life sparely and frugally. Are these prisons of a sort? Am I freer if I have a phone? Am I freer if I hold money? Am I freer if I follow a different lifestyle, a less frugal one, spend more money, go out drinking, dance? It's a question. It's not a truth. It is the dream that is casting that kind of thought upon this reality that I have right now, because without the dream I would have awoken with a different mood. The day before, my dream awoke me with an extraordinary vista of choices and beautiful things that I could. The new burgeoning short story that is in my head is welcomed, and I'm presently trying to sketch it as a précis. It is a science fiction fantasy story in which transport or movement through space is accomplished by singing, not by spaceships, not by mechanisms, not by electrical equipment, but by a talent of singing where that singer is capable of warping space. I talk very often about leaving this planet because I'm very clear that that has to happen, or we die on the planet when the sun explodes. And the sun has already exploded. Is this a valid way of spending time? I think so, because I believe that my inspiration and my feelings about it are different from most people's. Most people think of mechanisms, they think of cars, they think of spaceships. I love all these things. I love them as limited material mechanistic tools. But we humans, and in my case Twomans, are equipped with extraordinary power. And power not in the sense that we can be mechanisms, but in the sense of our ability to use space and to warp space, to place our heart in such a powerfully expressive place as to be able to warp space. So I think, and I believe that our method of leaving the planet will be our evolution, evolving from what we are presently to a more intuitive and mind-bending beings capable of warping space, because as far as I can see, the mechanistic way does not pass over the limb of relativity. The possibilities of moving past that comes only through mind bending, through heart bending, through this mind and this heart and these emotions evolving to a point where it's capable. I believe that all those artists that is what their path has been. Michelangelo, in his method of sculpting and creating art, was showing a way for us to continue growing. All of the artists do that. Some of them do not. Some of them are materialistic and they create from a materialistic perspective. They become trendy and people get lost in their creations. However, always there are artists who are working, and I use the word artists in a limited fashion because it's a larger thing, a larger expression I'm talking about. There are beings who are constantly evolving and pushing the boundaries. And that pushing boundaries is all about leaving the planet and moving to a different place in the universe. I consider myself one of those beings. In offering the word Twoman as a replacement for human, I am offering that as an evolutionary path for beings in the future, to consider themselves not limited by something, but expanding, constantly expanding, so that we as beings will be capable of leaving the planet when the sun explodes. So dreams, in a sense, offer inspiration, offer perspective, offer a way of perceiving that is outside reality, and they are extremely important. I would say that my creative expression has been so inspired by dreams that without them I would not be the creative, expressive being that I am. Without them, I would not have been able to manifest this expression. The walkabout itself is a product of dreaming. The Feestad is a product of dreaming. My life itself is a product of dreaming. I dreamed all of my life into existence. So then again I say, what is the difference then between dreaming and reality? Dreaming seems to be more of a inspirational map, whereas reality is the process of living. Dreaming is the process of extending that or expanding that process of living, so that new ideas can come in, new understandings of the way I'm living can come in, so I can be fully manifesting myself as a being. I work on many, many things. Some of those things are and will be incomplete. Am I a failure for being incomplete and not following through on those things? I do not think so. As I've just spoken of dreams, dreams offer a place for the mind to return and replenish the reality and give ideas. So just learning is a way of growing, as we all know, but learning without finishing is not a failing. Learning without finishing, because are we ever finished? Can it ever be finished? Even if we leave the planet, is it finished? It's not finished, because then it's a new planet, it's a new solar system, it's a new sun, it's a new habitat that is growing, a new species of animals and beings will be there. I do the quaternity. I practice the quaternity on a daily basis. The quaternity is the 4 basic creative arts. 1 is the art of sound expression, fully expressing that with my body, not with machines. The use of color, line, and creating sketches. I do that with pens. I do it with the most limited fashion I possibly can. I do it both left and right-handed. I draw left and right. My pieces will be incomplete. Writing, or ideas, my stories written, told, dance. Dance is the most body-oriented one, because the body itself is the creative, expressive. So those are the quaternity. I do all 4 of them every day. With the sound, I have the violin, I have the voice, I do walkabouts, I sing around the street, I sing in the steam room chant there. It is more of a chant, since chanting is a repetitive tonal expression. It is more connected with ostinatos, whereas the song that I sing during a walkabout is the maintaining of the chant and ostinato while overlaying melodies that come to me. Melodies that come to me either can come to me through Mozart, can come to me through any number of melodists who have lived through time. Beethoven. Schubert was a beautiful melodist, and he left an unfinished symphony. But it's not unfinished, it's just unfinished. Finishing is an illusion. So I practice these, and will be unfinished in all of them. There are stories, there are dances, there are musical expressions, there are sketches that will all be unfinished. I will never finish them. I will also never finish my process of learning. I am learning in every one of those different aspects. In dance, I am learning new methods of dancing. I see different movements that all around me, different people, how they use their hands, their feet. I'm getting older, and it's more difficult for me to do certain things, so I will not be able to do certain body movements anymore. That will not stop me from dancing. I will dance to my grave. In drawing, I practice left and right. I have just hit a impasse in my left-handed drawing, and it has been difficult as my body reduces its capability, the left hand being that I understood this, I made this understanding late in life that I needed to do left and right-handed things. Relatively late, because it started in my 30s. So that's 40 years ago. Relatively late I started, and so I am imbalanced in my left-right. So I call myself a Twoman, but I'm not a balanced Twoman. I could have, if I started out when I was a child, already been practicing my left and right-handedness, as some may do because they have been inspired to do so. They rarely do, though, because life and all the materialism that we are surrounded with pushes right-handedness. In my music, I am now finding my violin discipline evolving because I am getting old and I cannot do the same things that I could when I was younger. I am not dissuaded from my expression from that. I will play the violin even if I could only play with one finger, even if I can only play open strings and I cannot even put my finger down, because that is not where the beauty is. That is not where the musical expression is. The musical expression is in my heart, and the melody comes out of my heart, whether I am droning one note or I am playing an arpeggio that goes from the G string all the way up to the 8th or 9th position of the violin. Those who play the piano and play arpeggios up and down the keyboard are showing off, because that is, or Paganini was showing off. He got that, though. He realized that music was not in showing off his technical capacity, and he quit the violin. Chopin could play any number of arpeggios and grace notes and fast runs. In the end, you cannot play but one note, because in dying, you have only one note you can play, and you have to choose that note carefully. That note is that heart note that will resonate for the rest of eternity, and that is your death note. You are at the present moment trying to cull that death note. That is the process. Is my life unfinished because I'm dead? No, because the death note lasts forever. Just like when you ring a bell, the bells, you cannot hear it anymore, but the bell itself, the resonance of that structure, that orb, that tinkle lasts. That is why I have trouble with electronic music, because that is not what it is doing. It is propelled by electrons, and electrons are problematic, to say the least. The bell is not problematic. It is a structure that when you touch it, its very body emanates this tone. When I sing, I emanate this tone. When I sing into a microphone, I emanate a tone, but that tone is then increased by an electronic field. That electronic field is not the note. It is something else. You learn that when the volume gets too loud and some horrible, injurious sounds come into your ears and into your body. Those are happening all the time when it's amplified. You just are not aware of it as much. So you who are dancing your ecstatic dance in raves and on all these amplified structures are receiving bad sounds. You just don't know it. It's corrupting you. It's causing damage. Most of you will need hearing aids as you get older. Most of you will not be able to sing, because singing and having that last note comes from the emanation of the full cavity of your body. And when you use a microphone, if you do that, you blow out the amplification system. I am seeking to express the most beautiful last note on my death I possibly can.